We stand on the ruins of our own making, but keep looking out with binoculars, even as our feet are in dust. They don't realize it is an insult to our intelligence not to speak about ourselves, but about a virtual figure like a president or a prime minister. They give us gossip in the name of knowledge. The first impediment is the expectation that the other person should start the conversation. The second impediment is the inability to articulate thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Thirdly, your language needs to be appropriate towards achieving that goal. Another impediment is stonewalling the conversation. I am V.R. Sampath, aka Sampath Ramanujan, a retired Indian Police Service officer, PhD in English Literature and MFA in Creative Writing and Consciousness, US. Come, subscribe to my Absurd Conversations channel. Click the buttons to like, share and get notified. Comment and keep watching. This is part 2 of the crucial conversations we were talking about. When stakes are high, opinions vary, and emotions start to run strong, casual conversations transform into crucial ones, says Joseph Grady in his book of the same name, Crucial Conversations. Generally, we are interested in looking outside, not within ourselves, or for that matter, not even within our own inner circle. Always looking outward, what others are doing, what are they saying. In the process, our own relationships are in shambles. We stand on the ruins of our own making, but keep looking out with binoculars, even as our feet are in dust. Any number of Indians I come across who come visiting US talk only about one thing, one person, Modi. What he is doing, where he is going, and what he wears. The power of media propaganda. I tell them what I think of him. His speeches are mediocre, he is showy, camera crazy and pompous, and his performance is just comparatively better than his detractors. That's all. End of any conversation with our friend. And they speak nothing about themselves or the man sitting across from them. It did not matter it was me. It could have been any XYZ. The subject matter would be the same, Modi. They don't realize it is an insult to our intelligence not to speak about ourselves, but about a virtual figure like a president or a prime minister. This tendency is responsible for our interest in politics, cinema, and celebrities. We expect politicians to be clean, actors to be moral, and celebrities to behave themselves, all in the name of knowledge and awareness. Media is responsible for this too. They feed on this tendency on our part. They give us gossip in the name of knowledge. The focus now is the shambles we stand on, mainly our relationships, particularly interpersonal. The reason they are in shambles is our failure to have crucial conversations when it mattered the most. That's at the earliest. The moment you notice something wrong in an interpersonal relationship, when you notice and do nothing about it, the opportunity passes. Things accumulate and get tougher to resolve. This is called the time lag. The first impediment is the expectation that the other person should start the conversation. And starting the conversation feels like weakness, as though you win or lose the first round. This impediment needs to be overcome, keeping the larger perspective in mind, that is, to improve relationships. The second impediment is the inability to articulate thoughts, feelings, and emotions. The ability to use right language comes only next. If you don't know how to speak, then what's the point in saying what to say? Hence, to have the focus to improve relationships comes first. You need your relationships to get better. Then, you need to take the initiative ASAP towards that goal. Any time lag would only worsen the matter. Thirdly, your language needs to be appropriate towards achieving that goal. Another impediment is stonewalling the conversation. A person who doesn't have the intention of improving the relationship, who doesn't know how and what to talk, resorts to stonewalling the conversation. This happens with a tendency to keep silent when spoken to. One of my known contacts, with whom I have a bad relationship, will resort to stonewalling whenever I wanted to open a conversation, a crucial conversation, to mend things. He will keep silent or ask a counter question, "Do you think you are an angel?" Which practically means you are not fit yourself to say anything about me or our relationship. No? But how? I ask. Silence will be the answer because he doesn't have one. One of the crucial traits required for holding crucial conversations is to remain teachable, to learn and remain open to learning. If you are closed or convinced that you are right and the other person wrong, or don't believe you have something new to learn, or generally remain apathetic or indifferent to change, then the scope for holding crucial conversations narrows down to near zero. Finally, Morgan Freeman nailed it when he said, discussions are better than arguments. While arguments are to find out who is right, discussions are to find out what is right. What do we want to do? Find who is right or what is? Argue or discuss. Now coming back to relationships and relating properly are crucial to have open conversations. What do you think of others in your life? Do you think some are good and some are bad? Then we will have to define what is good and bad. Does it mean they are good or bad for you? Then it becomes subjective. Since we don't know our own selves, we cannot judge what is good or bad. Whether we are good or bad, still we need some broad guidelines on this issue. For a long time, I took people as good as I took myself to be. Because we generally take ourselves to be good. We start with our family. We defend our family under any circumstances. Then this assumption expands to our society, race, color of skin, spoken language, shared culture, etc. Karens are born here. Go back to your country. After getting enough kicks and battering, I started doubting whether all people are good. If you think in terms of black and white, then I must naturally think people are then bad. But a few nice persons came along. They were so nice. My conviction that all are bad was shaken. I know what you are thinking. Everyone knows not all people are summarily good or bad. There are no good people. There are no bad people per se. If you are more intelligent than me, you would also say that the same person can have a mix of good and bad. Or a person can be good at times and bad at other times. A person considered good shows his true colors or ugly face one day. A neighbor of a school shooter boy thought he was all along being a well-behaved, peaceful kid until the day he shot down a dozen kids in the community school. Next, could you say all people have the potential for good? It's only the circumstances that make them act bad. Do you think so? Then what about road rage? Two good people have an argument which ends in a shootout. You can blame it on many factors. Or it could be all people are potentially bad. It's only the society with its rules which compels them to act neutral, if not good or bad. That means they act bad when not watched. Imagine looting of shops when there is a power supply cut or interruption for a few minutes. What about rude and violent behaviors on board a flight, in restaurants and other public places? I saw a video shot in some city of Australia where a decent-looking man was shown systematically destroying shop after closed shop, throwing stools and furniture at glass doors and windows for whatever reason. What about pranksters who cause harm in the name of fun? I know it's not easy to decide. Behavior is complex. Our brains are complex. Life is indeed complex. So are other people. But we need a guiding outlook or attitude when approaching an unknown person or circumstances in life. All the above arguments lead only to confusion when we are face to face with a stranger or new circumstances. As I said earlier, I took everyone to be positive and good and got battered. I was unprepared to tackle the situation because of my above attitude. I realized much later that person had a bad intention when he interacted with me. That realization was useless because the circumstances and the person were gone. If that person was a repeat occurrence in my life, like a family member, at best I could hold a grudge and retaliate under different circumstances. He wouldn't know what hit him. So we carry on with bad relationships because of the attitudes mentioned above, that all are inherently and potentially good. With this attitude, one more thing. We develop an expectation that the other person better be good because they are potentially good. You are disappointed, and that makes you bitter if they are rude to you. Now another way. You take others as potentially bad, that they can act adversely anytime. This puts you on alert. You won't take much time to react appropriately. You will be ready with a reply or reaction instantaneously, unless you become paranoid that the other person is likely to be bad in a given set of circumstances. Without becoming paranoid, you should be alert. In that case, you may overreact. A word about your spouse or partner in life. In Vedic astrology, if you represent the first house of your horoscope, your partner is placed in the seventh, exactly the opposite house. It means your spouse is your opponent, a challenger, and a partner who needs to be treated as one. If your expectations are that he or she should be friendly, serving only your purpose, and be good, you may be in for a rude shock. He or she is there for a purpose above everything else, hers or his purpose, not necessarily yours. Given all these possibilities, I find it better to approach life and people with caution that they are potentially bad. This attitude saves a lot of heartburn, keeps you ready to deal appropriately, and you are left with no guilt or regret. Above all, you wouldn't have an expectation on others and get disappointed. Thank you.